Hello and welcome to today's episode of Tech Bytes. On Tech Bytes today, we're going to be talking about artificial intelligence. For those of you that might not know, artificial intelligence is basically a computer program that can think for itself by doing computations and producing content. What we're specifically talking about today is a program called ChatGPT. ChatGPT has been in the news quite a bit lately, and we're going to take a look at what it is and how it works, and then talk about the ramifications of the software. So first of all, ChatGPT looks like this. It is a very simple program, and we're going to take a look at how it works. So this is what ChatGPT looks like. It's a very simple interface. There are some examples. It kind of gives a little bit of information about what the program can do, some limitations of the program. Down at the bottom is a very simple little box to put in a query. So I'm going to type in the words dividing fractions. Now when I click this, it's going to generate some text. Now it might take a second to start running because the system is being used a lot right now, but it's going to generate some text based on what I typed in, dividing fractions. And so this is not plagiarized text. This is text that the system is actually generating based on the information that it holds in its database. So it's not producing, it's not the same thing as doing a Google search and taking the answer that way. It's generating text. And to show that it's actually generating the text, I'm going to hit this button that says try again, and it should generate different text. Now there will be obviously some similarities based on the information that it holds in its database, but it will generate a different answer. So this is not plagiarizing a website anywhere, it's actually creating an answer based on what was typed in. Now when you type in a simple phrase like dividing fractions, you're going to get a small response. This one's a little bit longer than the one that it generated before, and you can see this is actually generating some code that you can copy and put into something else. But it's a different type of response than what we got the first time we typed in the words generating fractions. So that is one way to use this. Now if I wanted a longer response, I'm going to actually type in the words essay on dividing fractions. And let's see what we get. I can't type. Let's see what we get when we type in essay on dividing fractions. It's going to think a little bit, and it's going to start generating some text here in just a minute once it's ready to go. So let's see what we've got this time. So again, some of the same information, but we should get a slightly longer response. We can see it's dividing it up into paragraphs and explaining with a little bit more detail how to divide fractions. So there's a process, kind of explains the process a little bit, and you can see it's typing a much longer response now because I put in the words essay on. So it's worth mentioning. So we got in conclusion. So it's putting in transitions, and it's creating a short essay on dividing fractions. Now again, if I were to hit this try again button, it would generate a different essay on dividing fractions. So there's a lot of controversy around this program, as I'm sure you can imagine. There are news articles, you can look them up, that talk about ChatGPT as the end of writing instruction for high schools and colleges, and that this software is going to completely change everything. Now, I won't go that far, but what I will say is that it is going to have an effect on writing instruction. Whether or not this means the end of writing instruction as we know it, or the sky is falling, I can't say that I agree with those sentiments, but it is something that we need to be aware of, and it's also something that we're going to need to think about as we move forward. Now, the knee-jerk reaction that a lot of school districts have to a piece of software like this is, let's block it. Let's figure out how we can block it. Let's figure out how we can stop kids from using it. And if you think back to those of you who are my age, if you think back to when we were kids, there was a piece of technology that was gaining popularity, and similar reactions. Let's figure out a way not to use this. And what I'm referring to is the calculator. When the calculator was introduced, everybody said, "Oh, this is the end of teaching math because it's a thing that is going to completely do away with math instruction in schools." And when I was a kid, there were a lot of classes that I took where you could not use a calculator. It was something that you were not allowed to use. You couldn't bring it to class. It was something that we were completely against using. And one of the things that I was told several times was, "There's no way that you are going to carry a calculator around for the rest of your life and do math on a calculator." And of course, as we all know, we now carry a calculator around in our pockets every day. I've even got one on my watch. So I have access to a calculator. Does that mean I don't know how to do math? No, I know how to do math. But if I need to do a quick addition, subtraction, multiplication problem that's a little bit beyond what I can compute quickly in my brain, I can plug it into a calculator, get my answer, and move on with my day. Now, this is similar to that. This is a piece of software that can generate text, and it's not plagiarized text because it's not taken from a website. The ChatGPT engine creates the text based on pieces of information that are stored in a database, and it can create passable text. So the question is, what do we do with this? Again, the knee-jerk reaction is, let's block it. Let's make sure our kids aren't using it. Let's not allow them to use it, but we all know they're going to use this. The same way that we use a calculator, the kids are going to use this tool because it's a valuable tool. I plan to use it. If I need a quick little block of informational text about a topic, absolutely, I'll plug it in, get my little block of text, and then I'll use that to create what I need to create. It's not that I'm going to plug in an essay on dividing fractions and then copy that and turn it in. That's not what we want to do, obviously. But when we look at writing instruction with our kids, when we look at kids answering questions, it's something that needs to be on the radar. Just like we've always checked for plagiarism in the past, we can look at what our students turn in and think to ourselves, this doesn't necessarily sound like something that little Johnny created himself, so maybe this came from artificial intelligence. And so, again, it needs to be on the radar, but it's a valuable tool in the same way that a calculator is a valuable tool in math. And so we can look at how to use this tool, how to teach our kids how to use this tool in such a way that it's valuable and isn't something that then just becomes a copy and paste kind of a environment. We can also look at what we're doing with our kids in writing. What is the purpose of writing? Is it to generate this type of passable text? No, that's not the purpose of writing. That is a purpose, a very basic purpose of writing. But when it comes to actually writing, we want to encourage our kids to use their voices. We want to encourage them to connect their personal experiences, connect their past, connect their social environment, the day and age that we live in, to what they're generating, and encourage them to create content that they're proud of, not just something that's copied and pasted. And so as we move forward, it's something that we definitely need to keep in the back of our minds when we're looking at writing that students generate. And so I just wanted to put that in front of you today so that you can take a look at it, play around with it. Please comment back. Let me know what you think about the tool itself, as well as what we've discussed here today. I'm very interested in your feedback on this topic. And so shoot me an email. Let me know what you think. This will be our last Tech Bites before we move into our holiday break, so I just wanted to take a quick second to say I hope that you all have a very restful and relaxing break and are able to take some time to kick back, and I look forward to coming back in January refreshed and ready to go. Talk to you all later.